Welcome to another edition of Ilta Voter Education Program. This segment is titled About the Ilta Board of Directors. Ilta is a membership-based, nonprofit organization according to the laws of the state of Texas. Ilta is governed by a volunteer board consisting of 7 members, and operational matters are handled by professional staff.
The board is a 7-person board. There are 4 officers of the corporation who sit on the board: the president, the executive vice president, the secretary, and the treasurer. In addition to those 4 officer roles, there are 3 at-large director roles on the board. The chief executive officer sits on the board as an ex officio member, that is, as a member by right of their title and their position in the organization, but as a non-voting member. So there are only 7 voting members. The board may invite other volunteers, guests, consultants, or staff to its meetings to inform its deliberations.
Each of the 4 officer roles on the board has specific duties. For example, the secretariat is required to keep and publish the minutes of the meetings of the board of directors and the annual meeting of the corporation, and to certify election results, among other duties. The treasurer has the ability to co-sign checks and contracts over a value set by the board and serves as the board's primary representative to meetings of the AFEC, a standing committee of the board, the Accounting, Finance, and Investment Committee, a group of volunteers who advises the board on issues having to do with finance and investment.
In addition to their duties as prescribed as officers, the officers of the organization, as well as the at-large board members, also assume other duties in conjunction with board service. For example, each board member serves as a liaison to one or more committees or volunteer structures within the organization. This can be volunteer structures such as the Program Planning Council or the Iltacon Committee, or it can be a standing committee such as the AFIC or the Talent Council, or to an ad hoc committee or task force such as the Membership Task Force or Board Election Task Force. Generally, each structure that has a board liaison will also have 2, so that there is a primary and a backup.
The board meets in person or virtually for an extended period, 4 times a year, basically on a quarterly basis. Currently, the board also meets monthly to handle routine business that cannot be handled in the quarterly meetings. That includes a review of monthly financials, ongoing motions, for example, seating of task force and other volunteer structures, as well as general planning for upcoming meetings and events. ILTA's board is a strategic board. They're designed to help determine the direction of the organization and to provide advice to the CEO on difficult operational issues that the CEO may bring to the board. The board is also the face of the organizational governance to the volunteers, to the members at large, and to our sponsors.
In order to serve on the board, the candidate must be a participant from a member entity in good standing. Associate participants and industry participants are not eligible for board service. It is important to note that a candidate for the board may not be the designated contact or voting member for that particular entity.
Ilta board members serve 2-year terms. A given individual may serve up to 3 consecutive 2-year terms, at which point they must term out. However, someone who has served on the board previously, even someone who is termed out, after sitting out 1 2-year term, may submit themselves as a candidate for board service again. This, in fact, has happened historically within ILTA on more than one occasion.
The officer designations for board members are determined by the Talent Council through the process of developing the slate. Hopefully, you have already listened to our recording about that process and about the Talent Council itself.
Some of the roles that the board takes on are defined by the bylaws. For example, a member of the board who is either terming out or is not seeking re-election will serve on the Talent Council, and the treasurer will serve on the AFEC. Both of these are specified in the bylaws. Other liaison roles generally are determined by the role the person occupies on the board, by their background as an ILTA volunteer, or by their personal interest. The board liaison assignments are determined at the beginning of the board term. Board terms run from August to August in odd-numbered years. Our last board was seated in August of 2019, and their term runs until August of 2021, at which point the next board will take over.
The board is currently elected via a slate process, a slate of 7 candidates with roles assigned to present to the membership. The membership will either ratify or reject that slate of 7. Generally, the election takes place in April, with results being announced around the 1st of May. From that point until the new board takes over in August, generally at the time of the annual meeting of the corporation, the incoming board members will shadow the existing board members to help learn jobs and understand the ins and outs of the board functions and duties.
All incoming board members also go through a comprehensive board member orientation. This orientation was developed as a joint effort by the Governance Committee, which was an ad hoc committee of the organization outside consultants board members and the Ilta staff.